You gave a series of interviews already about the documents given via soft copy to you by Yusek Cabral on September 4. And I understand some of these documents are quite controversial. But let me also ask you, first of all, ano ho yung nature ng documents na ito that you found controversial? Exactly what would they prove or disprove as far as irregularities and anomalies are concerned?
Siguro kung dagdag lang sa tanong ni Ed, ano yung context nung pagkuha nyo ng documents? What was the context then? At bakit binigay sa inyo ni Yusek Cabral?
First to Mr. Lingao's question, there's no surprise that almost every congressman and senator is allowed to insert projects into the DPWH budget. The document just proves that it happens even in the National Expenditure Program before it is even submitted in the House, which supposedly it comes from the DPWH, and shows which project has been proposed by which proponent. The more surprising part is that even members of the executive, including cabinet secretaries and undersecretaries outside the DPWH, have their own flood control project insertions according to the list. And there are even private individuals, I can say, who submit projects into the DPWH net. To Mr. Llamas's question on how I got it, I have also stated that on September 4, with a phone call back to Yusek Cabral and Yusek Cabral also to Secretary Vince. Secretary Vince tried to release the documents to me, and I'm thankful that he did so in the interest of transparency. I also previously visited Yusek Cabral's office and had other communications requesting for information on the DPWH budget per congressional district, because I think this affects all congressmen during the budget allocation period. And it was after Secretary Vince was to the DPWH that it was finally released to me. So I'm thankful for that, and I hope that the DPWH can make public more information about the budget. I think people can imagine they're sitting on a wealth of information that would be very interesting to the public.
To clarify lang sa Congressman, no? Facilitate ni Secretary Vince Dizon yung pagbigay sa inyo ng mga documents. At ano yung scale ng documents? Gaano siya karami? Pag sinabing binigay sa inyo, anong kanon? Gaano karaming volumes yun? No? Gaano kalawak yung information na ibinigay sa inyo?
I set the meeting through Director Alex Bote from the office of Yusek Cabral. And when I was there on my second visit, Secretary Vince Dizon and Yusek Cabral called each other, and I asked that it be released in the spirit of transparency, which was already the declared policy of the DPWH under Secretary Dizon. And Secretary Dizon told Yusek Cabral, yes, let's be transparent and let's release it to Leandro. The scale of the documents is quite deep, and I think I can share that maybe Dizon hadn't seen the documents when he told Yusek Cabral to release it, because he was only a few days in and hadn't actually been going to the DPWH yet. He was still, I think, turning over from the OTR. And the documents on just one tab are more than 17,000 rows, and there's multiple tabs. But the tab that I'm referring to is of the around that much in projects, 17,000 plus, the 2025 National X Program. Each project in the NEP has notes including the proponents and other hand instructions that
Ami, before I ask, Ami, go ahead.
Nag-freeze siya. Okay, Congressman. Ang sabi kasi ngayon today is this, Congressman, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Ang sabi ngayon today ni Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson, turned over na daw yung documents to authorities. Would you be aware of that?
I gave the documents to the ICI and the Ombudsman in my meetings November 18, 19, and 26. Rather, I showed it to them, and they said it was the first time that they saw it, and they came to my office to look at it further, and they hadn't asked any questions after they visited. They said that it was helpful for them to find out who are the proponents in the ghost projects that they have been doing site inspections on.
Did they give you any indication if they will release it to the public? Kasi hindi namin alam until you spoke, until you talked about it, we didn't know na meron ngang ganon. Although meron namang nagsasabi na Cabral had a ledger that included all those insertions. Pero did the ICC or anyone tell you, did they give you any hint when they intended to make it public? Or if they intended to make it public? Congressman?
Nag-freeze ata eh.
Oo, nag-freeze siya.
I think he froze.
Yeah, nag-freeze. Nag-freeze.
Okay.
O yun. Kasi hindi ba remember, may nagsabi na rin, I think it was Ping. One of the persons we interviewed, sinabi sa atin, there is a ledger. Maybe it was one of the Remulias. There is a ledger and it contains nga yung mga details about the budget insertions. Pero hindi natin alam na it could be the same thing. Tapos siya na nga ang sabi ngayon, today, ni Ping Lacson, na i-turn over na daw sa authorities. Bakit hindi natin
I think he's back.
Can I repeat my question? Congressman, did you hear me?
Yes, I heard you.
Yeah.
So,
did they give any indication
I'm
if they
quite
plan
sure
to release it to the public?
as same files. So I suppose that the Ombudsman and the ICI can also get that and even more files from the DPWH. But when I met with the ICI, and it was Secretary Singson whom I was mostly coordinating that meeting with, they were more focused on taking a look at it because it was the first time that it came to their... And I'm not sure if the files that Ombudsman Remulla was referring to are necessarily the same ones, because this file refers to notes that are digitized as well. There's a column that reads handwritten instructions, and the assumption is that in the DPWH they take a lot of notes of things, and it will be good for the DPWH Planning Services Office to just share everything with the ICI and Ombudsman, which, according to then Commissioner Singson, was not done.
Sir, sir, let me just get something clear. So we're not really talking about insertions in the same sense as yung mga BICAM insertions. What your list really shows are proponents dun sa level pala ng NEP building. Dun sa pagpuputulin pala ng NEP.
Yes. Some people.
Oh, I think
But
we get
in my opinion, it's even more of an insertion if it's in the NEP. Because the NEP is supposedly in submission, and until the latest budget deliberations, the DPWH denies that the NEP are including insertions or proposals of politicians. And sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
we can hear you.
Sir, baka it's better if we use na lang a phone. We have somebody call up your cell phone kasi mukhang yung data nahirapan tayo sa data eh. You're getting choppy eh. If
Yes,
it's
that's
okay,
fine.
sir, we'll call your cell phone if that's fine. Para mag-audio na lang tayo kasi hindi tayo nagkakaroon ng napuputol-putol din eh. Ano, Ami? What do you think?
Yeah.
Baka better if we
Sige.
just call you on the phone.
Mobile siya eh.
Kasi nagdi-disconnect din eh o nag-freeze din eh. Actually,
But
yes, sir. Sir, we'll call your phone, sir. We're calling your phone right now.
Is then composed of proposals from politicians. Ms. Pamantu mentioned the allocable. There's 401 billion of that. and the excess of 120 is also has proponents. In fact, the allocable is the easiest to identify because
Yeah.
we know that the district congressman has some
districts.
control over the projects in their district.
Mhm.
The allocable is for the district congressman, but the outside allocable is where the extra budget that includes the so-called leadership fund, which is actually called that in the file. It's called Leadership 1 and Leadership 2, and other people that have extra budget allocations are also indicated in the file.
Okay.
Who got the leadership funds? Who got the leadership funds?
Actually, in November, I already shared information about this list in relation to the projects of Congressman Edwin Garjola in my district.
Yeah.
Because he has 6 in my district, where 4 of them are under a list called CENTI 20, which is 20 billion of projects in this August 2024 file that in 2025 almost all ended up being awarded to companies linked to Congressman Garjola. And there were 2 projects of his in my district that were among the leadership tagged projects. So the meaning of that is that the leadership projects ended up with different groups of contractors, but at least 2 of them, the ones in my district, are from Congressman Garjola, and they are not insertions if you define that as BICAM. They are in the NEP, but effectively the same, and in fact even more hidden because they are being represented to BTPH proposed.
Sir, I'll go back to yung listahan yung ninyo na yung mga pre-NEP proposals or proponents. If tell me if I'm getting this right. If I understood you correctly, the controversy is more of you have proponents who do not seem to putol ba?
Hindi. Ayan siya.
I can hear.
Nandyan siya. But ewan ko yung connection nyo, ha?
No?
I can
No.
see him, eh.
Sir, can you hear us, sir?
Hindi narinig yung sabi mo kanina, Ed.
Oo nga eh. Sir, we're calling you right now, I think. Let's use na lang mobile phone. Okay? Are we on?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sir. Yan. Thank you, sir. So, pasensya sir, medyo choppy-choppy tayo eh. So, I figured it's better if we just talk on the phone eh. At least klaro tayo dire-diretso. Anyway, sir, my understanding, and tell me if I'm getting this right, my understanding is that the controversy over this list of proponents, as you might call them, dun sa NEP projects, is more of the nature of the proponents. You have people who are not just legislators, but you also have people who are in the executive, may mga secretaries and undersecretaries and so on down the line, and private individuals. And I understand your point of view, sir. Pero my question is this would it necessarily be anomalous or irregular? Ibig sabihin, irregular na ba at ma-anomalya na ba kung hindi congressman o senador ang nagpanukala ng budget na isasama sa NEP? I ask that because parang my impression is that that's not necessarily a bad thing because proposing projects is not the sole prerogative of legislators. In fact, pag congressman at senador na magpropose, magmumukha pang pork eh. But constituents, private people, and even other politicians, I suppose, should be able to make proposals to be included in the NEP for consideration by the House in the future. Because they are constituents and they are officials. And then, therefore, it would only become more of a question of tama ba ang pagpipili ng DBM na itong proyektong dapat prioritize. Yan po. That's my question po.
However, include cabinet secretaries and undersecretaries outside of the DPWH, which have no connection to the DPWH, and also names of contractors. And some of the congressmen and senators and other officials named in the proponents might also have some links to the contractors that ended up being awarded the projects. And that's why the question of who is the proponent of a project is important, because it is not conclusive but it is some indication of evidence that there is some transaction involved in proposing a project and the contractor eventually wins the project. I think the clearest example of this is the cases where the proponent is an owner of the company that ends up as the contractor of the project, of which there are some.
Yes, sir.
in this list.
Yes, sir. That is clear. Yes, sir. That much is clear. Pag may conflict of interest, that's clear already. Contractista, for example, and so on down the line. Pero otherwise, sir, wouldn't it be, part and parcel of the process for other people to be making pitches to the DPWH na isama mo naman to kasi kailangan namin dito.
Yes, I think we're not saying that there's automatically some wrong with insertions, but that the identities are not disclosed.
Okay.
So if the identities which are available are disclosed, then the public can do its own research, and maybe the reporters would actually have a lot of topics to research on what is the connection between each proponent and the contractor that ends up doing the project.
Yes, sir. I get your point, sir. Especially about the contractors. Ako, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Na if it's a contractor making the proposal, medyo alangan na talaga yun.
But I would want to be fair to contractors. It's not only the contractors that are doing transactions with DPWH, because even a friend of a contractor can have some consideration received from a contractor, right? And
that's
it's
true.
very hard to pin that down. But when we see from paper trail of the DPWH that it's this friend that ends up putting it into the budget, then there's something to go on if there was some transaction that happened. And the call of the public is basically transparency. Right?
Yes, sir.
Not necessarily reaching a conclusion, but if there's data, then why not release it?
Yes, sir. Sir, in line with that, yung transparency call ninyo, baka it's just about time to release it already. Anyway, si Vince Dizon gave the green light for Cabral to give you the document, and you're a public official, so I suppose that also means na it's free for all.
Pwede release.
Yes, I have a few points to that. The first is I'm thankful that he gave it to me, but I didn't tell him at that time that I was going to release it to the public. And I think it's only courteous that I allow them to address this themselves first. But second, that the reaction might be that if it comes from me, some will question, whereas I'm sure that this came from the DPWH. So if the DPWH is the one that releases it, and I have another copy, I can corroborate that it's the same file that I got, then they can be the best one to also give more background and explain the contents of it. And lastly, because there's a lot of people that are listed here, there might be a lot of consequences to its release, and some actually that might be quite dire given recent events. And I therefore respect that there might be some process that should be undertaken before releasing the files.
Congressman, have you talked with Vince Dizon today? Kasi lumabas ngayong araw yung mga news about it eh. Did he get in touch with you? Have you talked to him?
I have not. And I sincerely believe that they want transparency and reform in DPWH, but of course it's not an easy job to reform the allegedly most corrupt organization in government. And there's a reason for that, because a lot of people are benefiting from it, and it should not be blamed on them if they can't make everything transparent and corruption-free overnight.
And another thing, what exactly is the leadership fund?
There's just a group of projects under this list that are tagged with leadership as the proponent.
It doesn't refer to the proponent per se. Na is he is a top official or something like that?
No, it's actually, I'm just looking now at 16 billion pesos of projects where under the column of proponent, it says leadership 2 or leadership 1. So there's 16 billion of projects here that the proponent is leadership.
You mean, sir, the House leadership or the executive leadership? Does it make...
It only says leadership. That's why Again,
Yeah.
why am I asking the PPWH be the one to release it? So that maybe when they release it, they can explain, along with the files, what these
What it is.
terms mean.
Kasi ngayon ko lang narinig yan, Ede. What is a leadership fund?
Well, from my understanding from sa kwento ni Congressman, hindi naman siya talaga leadership fund per se. Although, meron lang column kung saan ang proponent is leadership.
Yes, but
Yeah, what
what I would say
What does it mean?
approximately
Ibig sabihin
what
siguro,
the public
mga
imagines
bossing.
as a leadership fund is
Yeah.
allocable is 401B, and kanya-kanyang diskarte among district congressmen what to do with that. So that's not leadership. What is leadership is the outside the allocable, which is the bulk of the 320B. Now, the 320B includes here TICAS, which I think are the DND or AFP's DPWH projects.
Yeah.
There are EDSA rehab projects like that, which are not surprising by
EDSA rehab.
the public, are among the DPWH national priority projects. But then there are the bulk of the 320B that are not justifiably specially allocated projects of DPWH. In my own district, there is one project that is part of this non-allocable. That is not one of the projects of Congressman Garjola. So in my district, the non-allocable includes 794 million from Congressman Garjola, but there's also 280 million of solar streetlights at a cost of 230,000 per streetlight for 1,200 streetlights. And I can absolutely say there is no reason why, of all of the projects in the country, the DPWH will have a special allocation for 1,200 streetlights in my district.
230,000 pesos, one street light.
Yes, so that is an example of a project allocated under this budget outside of the allocable of the congressman.
Okay. So the leadership fund is different from the allocables pa, ha? On top of the allocables, may leadership fund pa pala.
Yes, so, and that's something that the public might want to know. There's 401 billion allocable to the congressional districts, and there's 320 billion that's outside of the allocable under the National Expenditure Program.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I suppose we'll have to let you go, sir, kasi our connection is really not that good. But we really appreciate your taking the time to talk to us. Maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon, Batangas First City Congressman Leandro Leviste. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman.
Salamat, Kong.